Welcome folks, we are in Innsbruck in Austria. We're in the Just Flight Hawk, and today we're going to be basically talking about the HP Reverb G2, particularly because I've had this headset now for well over a year. In fact, I was quite lucky, I was one of the very first people to review this headset on the channel. So I've got a pretty good idea now of what I love and what I hate about this headset, and just, you know, my overall thoughts on it. Is it still relevant today? And yeah, I thought we could go for a bit of a flight around Austria whilst we do that. So let's just line up here. This is the Just Flight Hawk, by the way, the best training aircraft ever made for this sim to date, without a doubt. And I'll have a link in the description below where you can find it. Right then, let's get airborne and we'll have a chat. Well, that was a bumpy runway. Orbex, you need to sort that out. Oh, this is amazing. Full motion reprojection. Beautiful scenery. What more could you ask for? Right, we've now made it into the back seat of our Hawk T1 via the EFB. Let's just have a bit of a recap about the Reverb G2. It was released around this time last year, and I say around this time because unfortunately the pre-order was a bit of a disaster for HP, and many people didn't receive their units as they should have. And I think a lot of that was down to the fact that the Reverb G2, I don't think they realised how popular it was going to be. And that was because really HP were the only headset manufacturer that was really pushing high resolution VR apart from Pimax. And really it was all down to the Reverb G1 that was released prior that kind of spurred them on to make this new version with Valve actually. The Reverb G1 was a great headset, but it had a really heavy cable, that really weird connector that had all sorts of issues. It had a tiny small sweet spot, and the panel was pretty bad as well in terms of Mura and graininess. Also the software was pretty awful in them days as well. So the Reverb G2 was an evolutionary step. Every little bit about this headset was better than the Reverb G1, even though it had the same resolution. It had a better panel because it had less Mura, much better audio, class-leading audio, better tracking because it had more cameras, better controllers, better colours. It was just so much better than the Reverb G1, without a doubt. And it also had a larger sweet spot. That is something I still say today. I know people complain about the sweet spot of the Reverb G2, I understand why, but when I reviewed it, I definitely said, and I'll say again today, that if you thought, you know, if you think the Reverb G2 is bad for the sweet spot, try a G1, then you will understand. So, what are the things I love a year later about this headset? I'll start with that first. First of all, of course it has to be that display. It's still very, very sharp in that centre. And it really is a beautiful screen. And for the price, and I think it's even cheaper now, it's exceptional value for money, to be honest. It's a flight simmer's dream when it comes to price versus performance versus clarity. And it really is a wonderful display that, with the colour palette as well, and the lack of Mura. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Mura is definitely still there in lines if I look at the sky there, but it really is nowhere near as bad as the G1 was. So they did a really good job there. Let's go a bit lower down so we can play amongst these beautiful mountains while we have a chat. So really the first thing about this headset, even today, the display is still absolutely fantastic, and if you're coming from the likes of, say, a CV1, a Rift S, or even the original G1 was really good, but this is better. It's got a better screen, without a doubt, and that still stands today. Even against the Vive Pro 2, I actually prefer the Reverb G2 screen because it is sharper in the centre, because it's slightly less field of view, so you get a bit more of a packed pixel density. And the sweet spot in this is larger than the Vive Pro 2 as well. What else do I like about this headset? Well, actually, no, this is not something I like. It's something I love, and that is the audio. And an aircraft like the Just Flight Hawk, you really can hear the Index-inspired audio. They did a great thing and basically teamed up with Valve to use their sort of over-ear floating design earphones. And to this day, it's absolutely class-leading. No one, I repeat, no one has beaten the Reverb G2 and Index for the audio. It's absolutely, it should be on every single headset. And quite honestly, it's the thing that I miss the most of the Aero. Imagine the Aero with this sort of G2 style audio. It would be absolutely incredible. Yeah, it's something that every time I put this headset on, I smile like a kid when I hear audio such as the F-18 Hornet and DCS, the Spitfire and DCS as well. By the way, there's a video coming on the channel of that soon. And of course the Just Flight Hawk and the Piper series, you know, the really good high fidelity aircraft. You can hear every single frequency. The bass response, the treble, the mid-range, everything is perfect. I wouldn't, to be honest, I don't really see an area where they could improve on the Index floating ear design. They nailed it first time, and that's Valve actually, that's not HP, but HP did a good thing. They realised how good that solution was, and every manufacturer should do the same as HP on that. So I've got to give them 100%, you know, reward for that. You know, 100 Flight Sim Guy points for the audio. It's as good as the screen, and together it's a great combination. Stunning views here. Just to let you know, I'm using the Windows Mixed Reality mirror, by the way, so it might look a bit stuttery, but you know, the usual thing applies. I say it all the time. In the headset, it's super smooth. I'm using motion reprojection. It's just so nice and silky. In fact, that's probably one of the things I love about the HP Reverb G2, is the fact that the software has matured. The Windows Mixed Reality platform is not as bad as what people make out. It's actually pretty damn good these days. I do have to say though that the optimizations could be better. I still think it uses a bit too many resources, but in Microsoft Flight Simulator using the OpenXR runtime, you don't need Steam VR, so that's another layer gone. And what you get is a beautifully smooth performance, particularly with motion reprojection. It's absolutely a massive winner for this headset. It's why I still love it and use it all the time. And especially for this kind of flying, which I'm doing now, this is the perfect scenario where motion reprojection is perfect, because along the ground there, everything is silky smooth. So yeah, I love that about this headset. And to be honest, it's better even than the Aero when it comes to motion reprojection. Currently at the moment, the Aero does not have that included in the software, although that is planned very soon in the next Vario-based update, so I'm looking forward to that. Look at this. We've now got a bit of a snowy scene here. Must have been snowing here recently. Very nice indeed. We'll head over here actually, down this valley. What else do I like about this headset? Well, it has to be the comfort. I think this headset is literally one of the most comfortable headsets I've ever worn. The only thing that comes close is the Vario Aero, which is you know, a lot more money, and the Vive actually. The Vive 1 and the Vive Pro 2, both of those headsets are absolutely superb when it comes to comfort. This is up there, and it's very light. I have to say though, it's not perfect, and I do recommend Studio Form weight balancer kits. I do have a 5% discount code, I think it's still running, which really helps the sweet spot. We'll talk about that in a moment, by the way. Keeps you aligned with the sweet spot, as well as the VR covers, which are currently have a massive sale. So links in the notes below for that. So really, those points I've made still stand today. I said those same things when I reviewed the headset a year ago, and there's been nothing out since that has competed with both the value for money, this display, you know, altogether as a really good package. Right, let's now talk about the bad points. I'll start with the number one thing that I hate about this headset, and that is the sweet spot. It's definitely better, but it's still pretty bad compared to, say, even the Quest 2. For instance, like for now, at the moment, if I look at this panel, and even if I look, I still can't see that AFB, still can't see it. Now I can. Now I can read that. Now it's blurry. You know what I mean, guys? Like, even this gauge layout here, and this aircraft is very easy to read. It's not like an airliner, and I can read all those gauges no problem, but if I just go a little bit to the left or right, suddenly that becomes really blurry. It's the number one bugbear for me personally, and that's due to the Fresnel lenses, but it's not also due to that, because I know the Pimax AKX has Fresnel lenses, and the sweet spot in that is really good. So I don't really know what's going on there. Whether HP could improve that in a future headset, that would be very much appreciated, because to be honest, it's the thing I hate about this headset the most. The sweet spot is pretty bad, and it's something that I really, really notice when I go back to back with, say, the AKX, which has a really good sweet spot. What else don't I like about this headset? Well, I think it's just the fact that it's very temperamental. Even me with an Intel based system, sometimes I'll plug it in and I'll get errors, and I'll have to restart my computer or try and wait a couple of minutes, try again. The USB power this thing needs is quite hefty. However, there is a version 2 out. I would love to give that version 2 a try, actually. And if you really are interested, I'll give HP an email and see if I can grab one for a bit of a review. But they have since got a brand new cable out, and they've improved the tracking with this version 2. At the moment, it's not available in Europe. It's only available in the US, but I think that will change over time. So if you are in the market for a Reverb G2 now, I would recommend waiting and getting the version 2, because then a lot of these things that I'm talking about won't be a problem, including the field of view and sweet spot, which is actually improved due to a better face gasket. Talking of the field of view, I think that's something we need to mention as well. I don't personally mind it because I always go for clarity over field of view. However, the field of view isn't great in this headset. It's not brilliant. It's about sort of 95 degrees, probably a little bit more with a VR cover interface, probably more like 100 degrees. The vertical field of view is actually pretty decent, but if that's important to you, then I'd recommend going for a Pimax. But it's something that needs to be mentioned. It's not a big deal for me personally, but I know many of you don't like the field of view in this headset. I think it's very similar to, say, a Quest, probably slightly less than the Quest 2, but not by a massive amount, to be honest. So what else don't I like about this headset? Well, it has to be the controllers. Even though they've definitely improved them over the original Reverb G1, they're still pretty janky. The batteries don't last very long, and the tracking isn't up to the likes of the Quest 2. And that's something that's going to be more of an issue once this sim gets VR controller support, which should be any time now. It might even be, after this video, who knows. But yeah, the controllers aren't brilliant when you compare them to the Quest 2. The battery in that, they last for months on end, and you only need one battery. With the Reverb G2 controllers, you need 2 batteries, and you'll be lucky to get 7 hours out of them. So that's not great, to be honest. What else? So let's recap what I don't like about the headset: the small sweet spot, the field of view isn't great. What else did I say? Obviously the controllers, and it's very finicky with certain hardware systems, particularly AMD, which I think it's better now. With the new Reverb G2 cable, I think that's now sorted out, so that's good. At least HP have definitely acknowledged the fact that that was an issue. I'm trying to think, guys, what else don't I like about it? I guess the display does have some Miura. It's still there when you look at a plain background, but it's not terrible, but it's something that is there. What else? I think that's about it, to be honest, because, think about the price versus the clarity versus the performance you get in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It really is a great headset. So really, folks, I think that's about it, but I have just thought of something else that I did mention of positives about this headset. It's got inside-out tracking. That means you don't need base stations. That's a big deal, because that means that you don't have to spend £300 on base stations. So that's a massive plus point. And you know what, the tracking in this is very, very good. So overall, the Reverb G2 is a sound investment even today, even with the likes of the Vive Pro 2, the Aero and the 8KX. This really is the only headset that gives you that amazing clarity and really great value for money. It's all in one thing. You get the controllers with it, the tracking. It's brilliant. I would highly recommend this. I think this headset is probably the best for most people out there. Please do let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts about this headset, your likes and dislikes. I really want to know from you guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I really do appreciate your support on the channel. Please feel free to subscribe. 80% of you who watch my videos are not subscribed, so please feel free to like that button and subscribe and all that stuff. You know that I have to say these days, being a YouTuber. Alright, anyway, I think we're about 15,000 subscribers now, so that's amazing. Thank you so much. See you again very soon. Bye bye for now. Oh, this is so smooth. The motion reprojection across the ground is beautiful. Honestly, I can pick out every tree, every building, every little bit of ortho imagery that I want to, and it's absolutely beautiful on the eyes. And this is why I love reprojection so much, guys. Right, I'm off now. See you later. Take care.